Go ahead.
Two things. I would like to ask Bill James if he's heard anything about the Wise nightlight motion activated.
I can give you the answer to that one. Not
Okay.
yet, because they have just barely started getting a small supply that's been shipped out. Many of us are still waiting.
Oh, okay. And then one more thing on to Hewie.
Yes.
I went on your site and I found that site that offered free online manuals for equipment and so forth. It was on your Hewie.net.
Okay. I'm not
Okay.
familiar with what you're referring to, but
There was a like an app there, and it led you to you could go in and get free manuals on all kinds of equipment. And I want to thank you because I was looking for some typewriter manuals and I was able to find what I was looking for,
that's great.
No, come here.
but you probably don't remember it. That's okay.
Yeah, I don't, but
Well, thank you. I have one more other question. I have a couple cameras that say they will not work on Windows 10 to download the pictures and stuff. Is there a site that writes drivers for Windows 10 or where I would look for that information?
are these digital cameras?
Yes,
Do they have any kind of storage inside the camera?
right. They got that magic Sony card. That, yeah, I have that card, but they said the program that they would work with Windows from XP up through 7, but not with Windows 10.
But one of the things, just to jump in here, is if you took the card out of the camera, then you should be able to see the card on your Windows machine. So you could still take pictures with the camera. It's just you'd have to take the card out of the camera to put it to look at the pictures, right?
Ron, I think she's talking about the proprietary Sony used to have a proprietary card.
Oh, really?
Yes. And so you'd have to have a reader for that card.
Ooh,
And if there's not a driver for it,
yeah.
I'm not sure if there is such a thing as a reader that you can find that you might be able to hook up and get the pictures.
I have a reader, but it said the computer program would not recognize it.
But if you use compatibility mode, because you can ask Windows 10 to act like Windows 7.
Oh, I'll check that out.
I was just going to suggest that.
Yeah,
Good.
it's called compatibility mode.
Yep.
So for everyone, they've probably just seen a poll that's gone up. Today we have a really busy schedule on our show, and I wanted to talk about a couple of security things. So we're going to do that before the show starts, so we can get through everything in the show. So I've put up a poll, and if you wouldn't mind just answering the questions there, they're pretty simple questions, and I want to just follow up on that.
Put it back up.
Yeah, Paul disappeared.
I'm not able to actually answer it. I just see the
No,
results.
you're one of the
You can't.
staff, so you can't.
Okay.
But
Thank
the
you.
poll should be up. I can't.
It's not up.
Alt
Just
tab
click
and
on-
alt tab and
just
see if
click
you
on
can
the-
find it.
Just click on the poll again. It'll display.
The poll button at the bottom.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So there's a little tab at the bottom that says polls. Just click on that and it'll come up.
Where is it under?
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
have it
it's
on
on
my screen.
Next to participants, it says poll, then it says chat. So click on the poll and it'll
Yes.
come up.
It
That's
doesn't
not
have
on
that
my
on my
screen.
Apple.
It doesn't show it on mine.
Doesn't show it on mine.
I see it.
Just put it back up, Ron.
I can't.
Oh,
I
It
can't.
is up,
It's broadcast. I can close it, but I can't, and I can end it, but I can't rebroadcast it. It's there. I mean, we've done polls before in other shows, and people have the same problem. There's something, it's there. You just aren't seeing it, you know? And I guess what Bill's saying is hit the, click on the button at the bottom for polls and see if it
Yeah.
comes up.
I see
Yeah.
that. Bob was correct.
Yeah. So if you can do that, and if you could answer those, we'll leave the poll up for about 5 minutes, and then once we get enough people answered it, I'll share the results and talk a little bit about. I got hacked this week. So the one of our credit cards that Gail uses, actually my wife, when it's a Visa card, and I never use it. I have a card in which has my number, and she has a card, and I never use the Visa card. It sits in my wallet, but she uses it just really for online transactions. And so this week, when I was looked at our online bank statement to reconcile it, it was pretty obvious what the problem was, and the number had been compromised, and there were some fraudulent charges. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that to everybody, and so that's why I put the poll up today. Which is leading into some things that I think we'll probably talk about this fall. And I just thought it would lead into a good topic. So that's why I put the
hey,
poll.
Ron, could I mention something about the credit card?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, we were online. I just made a transaction online, and I told the owner, so we were looking at our card, and our card was compromised. We're in Caldwell, Idaho, and literally it was compromised for $75 in San Antonio, Texas. And so what I did, I called San Antonio police and gave them the address, because it showed that they were at a Chevron gas station. And they sent a car over there and arrested the guy right on the spot.
Well, good for you.
So, if you pay attention, things work out.
Don't fool around with Greg.
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
Yeah,
you
he's
can
don't hack
with me,
Greg's
but
card.
it's my card.
Yeah, don't hack Greg's card.
Hey, Greg, you should turn the blur off on your camera.
Hey, I got that on there on purpose.
Dorothy has had her hand up for
Go
quite
ahead,
some time.
Dorothy. Yeah, go ahead, Dorothy.
Oh, hi, everyone. The poll came up and I answered the first question and then it disappeared. And I don't have a poll button on my toolbar. I just.
Are you on a Chromebook?
No, I'm on Windows 10.
Really? And you don't have
I'm the
toolbar?
same way, same story.
If you take your mouse and drop it down to the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, no, it's usually when I see the poll button when I'm the host of a Zoom on our own club.
Yeah.
I'll see the poll button, but as a person who signs in, I don't see that.
You don't see it.
Wow.
Yeah, and only 11 people filled it out, Ron. So I think there's something wrong. It's a lot of people aren't seeing it.
I don't know how relaunch. Here we are. Go relaunch the poll. Relaunch, continue. All right. How's that? Does everyone see?
It
Yeah.
set it back to
Yeah.
it
Yes.
set it back to 0 though. Yeah.
Oh, did it?
Yep.
Oh, crap.
Well,
everyone
that's all
see-
right. Everybody
everyone
can
see
answer
it?
again.
Yeah.
So fill it in again quickly. We want to get fill it in. See what you
There we
answer
go. It worked this time.
answer the 4 questions. There you go. And we'll get some ideas. I sort of have some ideas on what everybody thinks.
I did have another question. I had a thing happen on my Windows 10 computer and I had no idea how it happened. All of a sudden, when I turn my computer on every day, I've got this screen that comes up saying, "Welcome to Google Drive for desktop." And when I go to close it, it says it's going to stop syncing my, stop migrating, stop moving your accounts to Drive for desktop. If you stop, your progress will be lost and you may not be able to use your accounts in backup and sync. And when I look on my Windows Explorer, it's kind of like OneDrive. It's created a drive folder with all my documents from the cloud. And I have no idea why this happened. I did get a screen telling me to sign into Google, but I don't
So
know.
what, Dorothy, what's happened is this is a change that's occurred in Google Drive. And so they updated it. And what it's probably trying to do is sync your files. And what it's telling you is that when you sign out or you close that, it's turning off the syncing. So you keep getting it because it never actually syncs.
Yeah,
right?
so should I do the migrating?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
do you want to use Google? Do you want to use the Google Drive to backup and sync? You can turn it off. You don't have to use it. If you want to use it, then you can use it.
I personally got rid of it. I uninstalled it.
You can use. Do you use OneDrive? Do you use OneDrive for backup?
Well, I do have 1 terabyte of free storage, but I don't
Yeah.
use it as I should. But I do use Google Drive for our computer club.
Yeah. So I
When
mean, it's up to you. It's up to you. If you want to use it, then let it sync, and you can set it up. It's now part of Windows. If they've changed they've changed it, and this is part of an upgrade that occurred recently. And so the reason that you keep getting that message is that it's still trying to get the stuff synced. So go into Google Drive and go into the backup and sync feature, and you'll see you can turn it off, or you can see what it's actually syncing. I wonder if it's taking your whole drive and trying to sync the whole
Well,
thing.
it is, because
Yes,
when I
it
looked
is.
on the hard
Yeah, you
drive,
don't want that. Yeah, you don't want to sync the.
That is why I went in. If I want something up on Google Drive, I do it manually, but I actually uninstalled the app.
I have it,
Programs and features,
so
and I got rid of it.
I've got it so I can see what's on my Google Drive, but it's not backing up my
Yeah.
system.
well,
But
what I read,
when that pop-up comes up, there should be a box on there that you have to uncheck or to check to say not to show this screen anymore.
But it
See
shows
if
it
that's
again
there.
anyway.
no, it just has the choice, stop migrating or continue migrating.
Yeah, but that's because you're not in the settings menu of the Google
Oh,
of that. You've got to go into the settings, and then you
Okay.
can change it.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I have no need for it to be on my computer. I mean, it's in
Right.
the cloud when I
Right.
have my Chromebook, right? So,
Correct.
okay, thank you.
What I like about it, Dorothy, is by having it, I'm not backing up anything from my PC, but by having it in my File Explorer, that I can save something on my Chromebook to the Google Drive. And when I open up my Windows machine, I look at the Google Drive and there it is. And I don't have to open up Google Drive in the browser anymore.
Oh, okay.
It's in File
Okay.
Explorer.
Okay, well, I'll play with it.
So just before we got to move on here because we only got 5 minutes left. So everyone said 91% of you said you look at your bank statement or your credit card statement, which is good. That's good. 76 said you actually reconcile the transactions. One of the problems is if you don't reconcile the transactions is particularly if you have a whole whack of Amazon transactions or Google transactions, it's hard to know what they are because they don't say what they are. And in the case of our hack, there was Uber Eats on there. Now, the hack was in California, but we don't have Uber Eats. I don't think, Dorothy, we don't have it on the island. Do you have it in Victoria?
Yeah, I think they have Uber Eats.
Do they? Well, we don't have it here. So there's no way. So it was an obvious hack. It was obvious to me. But if you used a lot of Uber Eats yourself, it may not be so easy to see. Then, of course, we went through, Gail and I talked about it, and she mostly uses PayPal now because the question everyone has is, how did it occur? And, a lot of times you just don't know. I mean, sure, you might have done some, but of course, Gail, my wife, after living with a crazy guy like me for so long, like 45 years, she's pretty good, on her transactions online. So how it occurred, nobody knows. And you'll probably find the same thing. Now, so one of the things that you can do to prevent this is to use PayPal. And how PayPal works is PayPal doesn't actually give the credit number to the credit card number to the seller. And it's a digital transaction with no information about that. The seller never knows who you are or what your credit card number is. And about half of you use PayPal, which is good. And I think a way around this is going to be to use something like PayPal. And then the other thing that I want, and where I'm moving into this, and where I want to talk more about it is because Google Pay, Apple Pay, Samsung Pay. With my new watch, of course, I'm going to be setting up Google Pay on it. You can set up Samsung Pay. That is the same system where it's a digital transaction and nobody ever knows who you are or what your credit card number is. And this is sort of, I think, the future of where we're going to get away from this stuff where we actually give out our credit card number online. And that's a way of getting around this whole issue of getting hacked with your credit card. So I thought I would just bring that up. It's a topic that I think we probably need to talk about more. And I'm going to probably do a little video on using Google Pay when I get it all set up. Does anyone, I don't know
if I can butt in for a minute.
Yeah.
When you set it up through either Google Pay, Amazon Pay, any of the pays, you're in essence giving them your credit card number. They have it on file, but the merchant never ever sees your credit card information.
That's right.
So there's no way they're going to steal it or pass it on to somebody or say, hey, look, I just got this, and give it to your friend and they can go, right. They don't get that number. They That's never right. do. Okay. Now, if Google Pay gets hacked or one of the services that you give it to, that's a different story. But then it's because the site itself got hacked, not because somebody passed along your information.
And it is, you know, I just never heard of Google getting hacked or PayPal. I mean, those are, I mean, that would really, PayPal does most of the internet transactions in the world, so yep. It's pretty secure. So anyway, just a thought that everyone can think about. We have 2 minutes before
time to get rid of the poll. Time to get rid of the poll.
I did. The poll should be gone. The poll should be gone. Does anyone have a quick question? We got 2 minutes left. If anyone wants to say hi or a quick question, we will be starting the show shortly. And we have a busy show today, lots of stuff, so it should be fun. We're going to move quickly.
I have a suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you do a quick screen share and show people where to find the reactions with the raise hand feature? Because a lot of people aren't familiar with what you're talking about. They think you want your hand physically raised.
You do it either way. It doesn't matter.
But I'm just saying they may not know how to find it.
Yeah,
we just did a video on it last week.
We just did a video last week on it, Jim. Yeah, we can do the video again, but we're just not today.
Okay.
Terry, go ahead.
I just wanted to mention back at the beginning of the year, my sister Nancy was joined in this program. I'm in Oklahoma City and she's in Salisbury, Maryland. She had a stroke and she's now in a assisted living. Her left side is paralyzed. Her desktop is still at the house, and she said she would like to have a Chromebook. So I sent her a Chromebook, and they just received it over the weekend. But I sent her daughter your what is
Jerry? Sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, Jerry, sorry to interrupt you, but we have to start the show now. It's 9 o'clock. We'll do it in the question answer. Okay, is that all right? Okay. We have to start the show now. Hold on. So I'm going to mute everybody, and we're going to share our screen. Tech for Senior. It is episode 77. It is the 13th of September, 2021. We have about 85 people in the audience today on our Zoom meeting, and we have a bunch over on our YouTube. We broadcast this show on YouTube, so I want to thank everybody for coming today. We have a huge show for you today, so we're going to start getting into things really early. Everyone's probably going to cheer. I'm not going to talk as much. So Bob, don't you say a word. Anyway, so welcome. We are happy that you're here. For those people over on our YouTube channel, the show will be running for about 50 minutes there. We stop our live broadcast about 10 minutes before the hour. If you want to come over and participate in the Q&A, you can certainly do that. Just come over to our Zoom meeting. We still have lots of space over here. So thank you so much for everybody for coming. I want to thank Phil Easterling for his generous donation this week on our Ko-fi fund. So thank you very much, Phil. That was very nice for you. And welcome to all our staff today that are here. Welcome. I'm not going to go around to everybody. Welcome to Hewie, Wave Hewie, and then of course we have Bob and Ray and Bill and Dewey. They have all got things for you today, and it should be lots of fun. As you know, this is a Zoom meeting that we are talking with. The meeting today is Zoom. We of course record this, and this will be recorded and be available for playback later on today, as all our recordings are. We also have a second show that we run on Thursday, and this is called Tech for Senior Live, and that's where a gang of us get together for coffee and have a lot of fun talking about technology articles, which we post on our Facebook page every day. So if you want to get the latest in tech, just pop over to our Facebook page, and we'll certainly be happy to, and you'll see all the articles that are there. The premiere event that we have, people often ask, what's premiere? Well, at half past the hour after our meeting finishes, what we do is we rebroadcast what we did 1 year ago. I go into our show 1 year ago and look at articles that we've done. And what I do is I pick them out, strip them down so they're available in a nutshell for your computer club to use. And so today our premiere at 10:30 will be starting. It's free. It's just over on our YouTube channel. And Hewie will be talking about using PowerPoint in Zoom. And that's sort of cool. So that's what Hewie talked about a year ago. So he's going to be talking about that. I'm going to be talking about YouTube sponsorship, and Bob's going to talk about how to lock your screen. So those are the three items that will be on, and they automatically come on at 10:30. They are recorded, and then you're free to use them as much as you want. Use them for your computer club. It'll just be a video that's up there, so you can go and you can use them as you wish. We're going to get started on the show now because we have this huge show that we want to get through before in the next hour. So I'm going to let Bob take it away now. Bob, are you ready to roll?
Here is the Avast Security News Roundup for the week ending September 10th, 2021. Apple pauses plan to scan for CSAM. In an update on its child safety page, Apple announced last week that they are pausing plans to implement a feature that would scan iPads, iPhones, and iCloud photos for child sexual abuse materials. Based on feedback from customers, advocacy groups, researchers, and others, we have decided to take additional time over the coming months to collect input and make improvements before releasing these critically important child safety features, the update reads. There were very valid concerns over the plan Apple was about to deploy. Nobody challenges the goal. We are all in favor of eradicating CSAM, but at the same time, there has to be the utmost respect for the privacy of users, commented Avast's Louis Carones. According to Wired, when Apple announced the new feature in August, the backlash from privacy advocates cryptographers, and even Edward Snowden was near instantaneous. Support for victims of tech abuse. Technology misuse is often intertwined with other forms of abuse survivors are facing in their daily life, wrote the National Network to End Domestic Violence. Regarding the prevalence of technology-facilitated abuse, they discovered in a survey of attendees at the 2018 Conference on Crimes Against Women. The most common reported tech abuse was unwanted or abusive text messages, followed by intimidation and threats via technology. But there were also reports of tracking and spying. Anybody who believes they are at risk of suffering tech abuse should follow the 7 easy steps to prevent stalkerware. Howard University cancels classes due to ransomware. Howard University, based in Washington, D.C., reported to the university community this week that it had been hit by ransomware attack, resulting in the canceling of classes in order to give the IT team, authorities, and the FBI more time to address and investigate the issue. Campus Wi-Fi was also taken down. The university said it would update the community on the issue each day at 2 p.m. So far, the university claims there is no evidence that any personal information has been exfiltrated. For more, see CNET. Programmers not mad at AI that could replace them. GitHub AI tool Copilot has one function: to predict the next character being typed. And while this function seems destined to replace the need for human programmers, coders like Avast's Janine Luke find the AI useful. Luke told the BBC she used Copilot to handle the more boring parts of coding, the tedious regular expressions. She said Copilot provides relatively good solutions, even though sometimes it requires some tweaking. One risk, Luke says, is that it can potentially violate open source licenses because it can cite something from the training set. Twitter tests new remove follower feature. Testing a new soft block privacy feature, Twitter is allowing users to remove followers without blocking them. We're making it easier to be the curator of your own followers list, Twitter support announced this week, tweeting the instructions on how to stop selected followers from receiving your tweets automatically in their feed. The removed follower will still be able to view your public tweets through manual search. It is a softer approach than blocking someone, which stops them completely from viewing your tweets and direct messaging you. For more, see The Verge. This week's must-read on the Avast blog. Steer clear of social media quizzes. The creators of these quizzes want them to appear meaningless and harmless. They want everyone to engage whimsically with them, because in truth, many are phishing attempts at your personal data. And even those that are not can be dangerous because bad actors are always scraping social media sites for data. Data scraping is when someone pulls publicly available information and builds profiles out of it. Read more by following the link below. You may also find my video on this topic helpful. And that wraps up this week's Avast Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bob. Don't do polls unless you're on Zoom at Tech for Senior, right?
Got that one right.
All right, let's see what I'm going to share my screen, and let's see what Dewey has for us this week. I think it's going to be an interesting topic.
Good morning, friends. I'm Dewey, and my Tech Talk topic for today is life after Lowcast. For cord cutters and others, the recent sudden demise of Lowcast left roughly 2.5 million subscribers without full access to broadcast TV channels in their market area. And if that wasn't enough of a gut punch, cable and satellite TV growth over the years has contributed to millions of viewers literally forgetting about OTA TV and its many sub-channels that have great entertainment and information content, but are not always included in cable TV channel lineups. These sub-channels like 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, and so forth came about with the switch from analog to digital over-the-air broadcasting, TV broadcasting in 2009. In my opinion, they're sort of like a hidden treasure that's been out of sight, out of mind. And like hidden treasure, it's free. Free is good. A good, properly installed outdoor TV antenna always has the best reception, but that's not always a viable option for many TV viewers. Happily, Amazon, Walmart, and a few other stores carry high-tech, compact indoor flat panel antennas that usually produce spectacular results. Several years ago, I bought a stunningly excellent indoor flat panel TV antenna at Amazon for $22, about a 1/16 of an inch thick, made in China, of course. Probably the best indoor TV antenna available now at Amazon is the Gesselbyte Amplified HD Digital TV antenna at $28.95. Nearly 38,000 Amazon buyers have awarded it a high rating. These ultra-thin flat panel TV antennas are directional and yield their best reception when attached to or near an inside window that faces toward the area's TV transmitters farm. You know where all the transmitters are located. They're usually pretty much together. The Gesselbyte antenna comes with an 18-foot coaxial cable and is powered by a USB connector on your TV or an AC adapter. It weighs under a pound and is less than 14 inches wide. It also has several controls to optimize receptions. As with all newly installed TV antennas, a channel scan is required after installation. If using an antenna where you live works, great. You're all set to enjoy more good TV. And if that's definitely not an option for you, well, then listen up. According to Jared Newman, in an article at techhive.com last week, he said there's one alternative you might have overlooked. If you know anyone who's blessed with better over-the-air TV reception, you could enlist their help in streaming local channels remotely from their antenna. Well, think about it. That's an important sentence, which, by the way, the highlighting is mine. If you know anyone who's blessed with a better over-the-air TV reception, you can enlist their help in streaming local channels remotely from their antenna. Think of it as your own private version of Lowcast, one that's pretty much impossible for the networks to strangle. Sound intriguing? Well, here's what you need to know. Before going on, I need to mention that web tech articles that I reference, which include product reviews like Jared's article did, always have a disclaimer at the end of the article which reads something like this. Note, when you purchase something after clicking links in our articles, we may earn a small commission. Read our affiliate link policy for more details. Jared reviewed 5 Lowcast replacement devices, as I may call them, including 2 that are quite well known, AirTV and Tablo. A similar well-known third option, HD Home Run, wasn't included, presumably because it may not qualify as a possible Lowcast replacement. Consequently, I'm going to focus today on AirTV and Tablo. AirTV is owned by Dish Network and has 3 models. AirTV players may be accessed on Android or iOS through Dish's Sling TV app or the AirTV app. Using AirTV in these apps is free. Free is good. Also, all AirTV models now support 1080p, HD, and 4K Ultra HD. The Air Mini is $80 and needs a hard drive in order to DVR, digital video recorder, recording the programs. It has Google Play access with Chromecast built in. The AirTV 2 It's a different model, runs $100 and also requires a hard drive, but has 2 TV tuners. Their top model, Air TV Anywhere, costs around $200, has a built-in hard drive and 4 TV tuners. Air TV players need to have a well-performing, high-definition capable TV antenna connected and connect to a router using either Wi-Fi or an Ethernet cable. A few users, however, do report occasional glitches. I've read that, so I thought I'd report it. Air TVs have no other fees and may be bought directly from Dish with a 30-day return option, or may be purchased from Amazon and a few other retailers. Their prices may vary. Installation is normally easy, but requires following directions carefully in the general setup and in setting up its channel guide. Also, watching TV on one channel while recording on another with Air TV requires an Air TV dual tuner adapter costing $30. Air TV players and accessories can be found at airtv.net products. Now here are pictures of their 3 models: the Air TV Mini, almost looks like a Chromecast, Air TV 2, and I have the rear side of it facing you so that you can see its RF connector, its Ethernet connector, USB port, and so forth. The Air TV Anywhere is a little taller and, of course, way more expensive. Regarding Air TV players, Jared Newman wrote that Air TV is the cheapest solution for setting up a remote OTA DVR. The tuner box connects to your Wi-Fi network, then streams video to the Sling TV app, either at home or on the road. Although Air TV optionally ties into Sling TV's live TV streaming service, that's going to cost you some bucks, you don't need a subscription to watch or record OTA channels. There's only one catch. Streaming is limited to one device outside the home, even with Air TV Anywhere. Now let's take a look at the other low-cast replacement device, Tablo, and what Jared Newman at techhive.com had to say about Tablo. Strictly for in-home use, he says, Tablo DVRs are simple to set up, can stream local channels to a wide range of devices, and have powerful DVR features, including automatic ad skipping for an additional charge. Outside the home is a different story. By the way, TFSer Mike Ungerman is a huge proponent of Tablo, I might mention. Tablo streaming device support is narrower. Now, this is Jared Newman talking, and you must pair your devices on your cooperating friend's network before taking them elsewhere. As such, this is only worth considering as a low-cast replacement if your friend is also an OTA enthusiast. The Tablo Dual Lite costs $150 and requires external storage. The Tablo Dual costs $170 and has 128 gigabytes of storage built in. The Tablo Quad costs $200 and requires external storage. I believe it has a SATA drive built in. It streams up to 4 live channels at a time instead of just 2. I checked the Tablo website, tablotv.com, and learned that there are 2 types of Tablo over-the-air DVRs, network connected and TV connected. Network connected Tablos are for cord cutters who watch TV on multiple TVs and devices in or away from their home. They don't feature an HDMI connection. Instead, these DVRs connect directly to your router, connect to your router and use Wi-Fi or Ethernet to stream live and recorded over-the-air TV to Tablo apps on a wide variety of internet-connected devices, again, in or away from your home. This approach gives cord cutters maximum flexibility to watch their favorite show, not only on smart TVs and streaming devices, but on smartphones, tablets, and so forth. Below are the current 4 network-connected Tablo models. the Tableau Dual Lite, Tableau Dual 120 gigabyte, Tableau Quad, and the Tableau Quad 1 terabyte. Now notice, interestingly, that 2 of these have a badge on them from TechHive calling it an editor's choice. Wonder how that happened. TV connected Tableau DVRs send video directly to your TV via an HDMI cable and also offer the flexibility to stream live and recorded TV to 2 additional TVs within the home via Roku, Fire TV, Android TV, and other smart TVs. Now there's pictures of the Tableau Dual HDMI and the Tableau Quad HDMI, very similar looking. This is about as far as I dare to go in explaining the basics of Air TV and Tableau as possible replacements for the now departed Locast. Jared Newman ended his article saying, the TV networks might have been able to stop Locast from redistributing OTA channels in bulk, but they can't prevent you from sharing them with a friend or two. Responding to the demise of Locast by creating your own miniature version might be just its own reward. Well, that's my Tech Talk story for today, and for certain, I'm sticking with it. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, and the good Lord willing, we'll see you next week.
Well, thank you. That's great. I'm going to stay connected because the next one is going to be teed up and we'll start right away. But that's maybe you'll probably have lots of question and answers in the at the end of the show. That was certainly pertinent to the recent Locast operational issues. All right, next one. Ron Brown with Tech for Seniors. Sleep tracking with a watch. Hocus pocus? How does it work? Does it work? Which one is the best? Stay tuned and watch this video and you'll find out. Sleep trackers. How do they work? How do they gather the data? Today we're going to look at the Fitbit Sense and the Galaxy Watch 4, and we're going to do a head-to-head comparison and see which one is the best. Now, full disclaimer, I purchased both these watches out of my hard-earned retirement money. I am not sponsored, and the opinions in this video are mine alone. Now remember, if you like this video, please click the like, and if you want to subscribe to the channel, we'd sure appreciate it because it would help make more videos. Now let's get on with the show. So what is sleep? We need to define this before we can analyze it. Well, sleep is a naturally recurring state of mind and body, characterized by altered consciousness. Of course, we go to sleep, we get a bit tired. Relatively inhibited sensory activity. In other words, we don't hear or see. And reduced muscle activity and inhibition of nearly all voluntary muscles during REM sleep. Have you ever noticed if you have a bad dream and you're trying to call out, you can't call? That's because when your eyes are moving fast and you're in REM sleep, your muscles are paralyzed. Interesting, eh? With reduced interactions with surroundings. It is distinguished from wakefulness by a decreased ability to react to stimuli. You can usually push people and they probably wouldn't wake up. Some do if they're in a lighter sleep, but deep sleep you probably wouldn't. But more reactive than a coma or disorders of consciousness, with sleep displaying different active brain patterns. Well, let's look at these brain patterns now. Sleep is made up of 4 stages. There's the awake stage. We then move into a light sleep stage, then a deeper sleep, followed by a lighter sleep, which is REM, or the rapid eye movement sleep. So the 4 stages of sleep are awake, light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep. So let's look at the stages of sleep. Stage 1 is a light sleep or the awake sleep, and this is just as you're closing your eyes and moving into a early sleep stage. Then we have the light sleep, and this is where, or stage 2, and this is where your heart rate slows down and your body temperature goes down a bit. Then we moved into a deep sleep. And deep sleep is where the repair of your muscles and organs in your body occurs. This is where all the healing occurs. It's like the fountain of youth. If we could just make all our sleep deep sleep, we would probably get younger as we get older. Pretty cool, eh? But deep sleep is where the big stuff happens. Then we're followed by REM, which is the rapid eye movement sleep. This usually follows deep sleep and is a much lighter sleep. But remember, your eyes are moving and you're paralyzed. Interesting. We'll see how this works in a minute. Now, through the night, you go through different sleep cycles. And how many cycles you go through is highly variable. But in this diagram, you'll see that we have about 5 cycles that someone would have gone through. And you'll see that you move from stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. You get into deep sleep. Then as you come out of the sleep, there's a period of REM, and then you go back down. And so through your night, you go through different cycles of these stages of sleep. And this is how it normally works. Polysomnography. Oh boy, I get to use some complicated terminology. Well, I'm a doctor. I should be able to do that, right? So polysomnography. No, it's polysomnography. There you go. And this is the art of actually recording and interpreting your sleep. And how we do this is through a polysomnogram or a PSG. And this is done by someone who might be a polysomnographer. Right, that's right. So this is the art of defining and analyzing your sleep patterns overnight. Now, if you see on the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see a gentleman who is hooked up, and you'll see some stickies on his head. These are, of course, the EEG. You'll see a little pulse oximeter on his finger. We're going to measure his oxygen. And you'll also see some sticky things on his chest. We're going to do his ECG. And there's multiple other sensors on there, leading to an analysis overnight, which is called a polysomnogram, or a PSG. And this is what would be produced in a sleep lab to diagnose the different stages of sleep. So how does a watch do that? Certainly when you wear your watch overnight and it tells you all these sleep things, it's not having all that stuff stuck all over you. It's doing it through the sensors in the back of the watch. Now, what do these sensors measure? Well, they measure your respiratory rate, heart rate variability, movement, and temperature. Those are the basic sensors that we have in the back of our watch, and both the Fitbit Sense and Galaxy Watch 4 have. So how does it take that information and tell you what your brainwaves are doing? Hold on here. Remember, the sleep analysis that we just looked at is brainwaves in your brain. How do they take those features we just discussed and come up with how much REM sleep you had? Well, that's very interesting. And that's what we call an algorithm. And this is how each of the companies do it. And they have their own proprietary algorithm. They take that data and come up with the results, which we're going to talk about today. Now, how do they do that? They won't tell us. And each proprietary standard is different. And there are no standards. Each device has its own calculation. And did you know you get a $10 watch that has sensors on it that will tell you exactly how you slept at night? But nobody knows how they create the data. There's a great deal of variation, as you'll see today in our analysis between the devices, and there certainly is no standardization to medical definition. So I took my Fitbit Sense on one wrist and my Galaxy Watch 4 on the other and went to bed. I did this for 3 nights and analyzed the data. So let's see what I found. So before we look at the data, I'd like you to look at my medical history. Later in life, I had a more difficult time sleeping. At my request about 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with sleep apnea and have worn a CPAP machine while sleeping. The CPAP machine probably saved my life. I can plead with you, if you think you have sleep apnea, please get checked out, because it really is a life-changing experience to finally be able to sleep. I still have problems getting to sleep though. I don't take any sleeping medication, and I don't take any medication that would interfere with my sleep. Now, as you can see in the diagram here on the right side, my sleep surroundings are excellent. This is day 1. Now, my assessment of how I slept was a little less than average. Now, let's look at the time slept. How long did I sleep for that night? Well, I look in the center, you'll see my CPAP recording, and this is the time on the CPAP machine was 7 hours and 22 minutes. Now, this is pretty exact because when I wear my CPAP machine, I put it on just as I get into bed, and I take it off when I get out of bed. So we know this is the exact time that I had the CPAP machine on. Now, in some CPAP machines, it might say something about sleep time. This is a misnomer. The number you see here is simply time on machine. Now, if you look on the left side in the dark area, you'll see it. The Galaxy Watch 4 tells me I slept for 6 hours and 23 minutes. And it did an analysis and said my sleep score is 59. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. On the right side, it says the Fitbit Sense said my sleep time was 5 hours and 15 minutes. Okay, well, a little bit of difference there. Now, if you look down on the Galaxy Watch 4, you'll see that the graph shows that I started out sleep, and then I went into a deep sleep, then I came up, and then I had some REM sleep, and then woke up around midnight, probably to have a pee, then back down into sleep, but I didn't get back into deep sleep. Anyway, you can follow the graph along there, and you'll see about 3 a.m. things started to go wrong, and I just couldn't really sleep, tossed and turned, probably worried about a show or something that I was doing. And so I didn't have a super good night. And look at the data, you can see the various sleep stages and the time that I was in those stages. Now, the same thing happens over on the other side. If you look at the Fitbit Sense, you'll see the graph below and all the different stages that I was in. But if you compare the analysis between the Galaxy Watch 4 and the Fitbit Sense, you'll see that in deep sleep, the Fitbit Sense said that I had 42 minutes of deep sleep, whereas the Galaxy Watch 4 said I only had 16 minutes. Well, that's a big difference. The Galaxy Watch 4 said that I was in light sleep for around 4 hours, and the Fitbit Sense said I was in light sleep for 4 hours and 18 minutes. The Galaxy Watch 4 showed me as sort of the early stages of sleep is 1 hour and 21 minutes, but the Fitbit Sense only said I was in that stage for 47 minutes. So right off the bat, you can see that, well, the total time was fairly straightforward between the two. The actual analysis of the different stages is really quite different. Also, the assessment of my sleep was probably right on. Both the Fitbit Sense and Galaxy Watch 4 rated me as fair, and I think that was a reasonable assessment of how I slept and my clinical analysis of that. So let's look at day 2. All right, so this is day 2, and I had a terrible sleep. My mind was racing, I couldn't sleep very well, and my evaluation of my sleep that night was just terrible. Okay, so let's look at what actually happened. So if you look in the center, you'll see, yes, my CPAP machine was on for 8 hours. In fact, I was in bed hooked up to my machine for 8 hours. Well, let's see how much of that I slept. Well, the Galaxy Watch 4 gave me a very poor score at 26, and I would agree with that. I don't think that was a very good assessment. I don't think I slept very well. All right, let's see what my actual sleep time was. 4 hours. Well, okay, how did that compare to the Fitbit Sense? Well, again, the Fitbit Sense got it almost right at 4 hours and 19 minutes. That's pretty close, both of them. But let's again look at the stages of sleep. All right, we have deep sleep on the Fitbit Sense of 56 minutes, and we have no deep sleep at all in the with the Galaxy Watch 4. But first, what did we learn? Well, we learned that sleep scores vary between devices. We know that stages of sleep are recorded differently, and the time spent in each stage is highly variable. I had a great sleep on day 3. I had a great sleep, and I went back to sleep a little bit later as well, and you can see that in my sleep score. So let's look at the time on with my CPAP machine, which means the time I was in bed connected to the machine was 8 hours and 35 minutes. Well, that's pretty good, I think. And the Galaxy Watch 4 agreed with me. They said that I was sleeping for 8 hours and 16 minutes. That's pretty cool. And they gave me a sleep score of 64. Well, that was certainly a lot better than the 24 I got with the poor sleep. So yes, that makes sense. Let's go to look over and see what the Fitbit Sense said. Well, they said I didn't have a good night's sleep. They gave me a poor rating, and they said my sleep time was 2 hours and 39 minutes. What? 2 hours and 39 minutes versus 8 hours and 16 minutes. There's something different here. So what value are sleep trackers? Well, Dr. Alan Schwartz at the Sleep Disorder Center at Johns Hopkins Bayview Medical Center says, while sleep trackers can collect a lot of information about your slumber habits, there's one important thing they generally don't do, he says, and they don't measure sleep directly. Instead, they often measure inactivity as a surrogate for examining sleep, he explains. Most sleep tracking devices make some guesstimate as to how much you're actually sleeping. And here's the fact, is that these algorithms that take the data that the sleep trackers collect are guessing. And that's why there's such a high variability between individual sleep trackers. So the final word, for exact data about your sleep habits, you'd have to do a medical sleep study, remember that we talked about earlier, which monitors brainwave activity to analyze the various stages of sleep that you cycle through each night. Now, how do sleep trackers you wear around the wrist work? They guess. They guess at the data that they're getting, and it's highly variable. So in summary, tracking devices are useful to observe trends in your sleep. It allows you to modify your environment, food take, alcohol use, or local surroundings and see results. It also allows you to develop more interest in a serious problem that can affect your health, insomnia. Also, it provides some user-friendly graphs and reports that are helpful to reflect on, but not replace the medical advice from your healthcare provider. So which watch won? Well, that's hard to know. I think that they're probably about the same. I think the results of sleep tracking are amusing at best. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. Please watch my upcoming video called The Misunderstood Galaxy Watch 4, which should be out in about a week. Till we meet again, have a great day. All right, so we might have some questions about that later. Let's see, Bob, are you up, ready to go?
Yep. What's the difference between a firewall and a VPN? Let me start off by saying that both are essential for network security. You've probably heard of a firewall. You may have heard of a VPN, but what's the difference? Since we're living in a time when most people are ultra conscious of germs and what they're touching, maybe the easiest way to explain the differences between a firewall and a VPN is like this. Think of a firewall as a rubber glove. It blocks bad stuff from getting to you, but it also does more than that. A VPN is more like an invisible cloak. It keeps the bad guys from knowing your location and activities. Unfortunately, it can't block viruses, so it's always good to pair a VPN with a firewall and antivirus software. Companies usually use VPNs to let employees securely access remote servers from locations outside the office, while regular folks make use of VPNs when surfing the web in their coffee shop of choice. Firewalls are used by both home and corporate networks to protect computers and devices. What is a VPN? A virtual private network hides your IP address, which is the string of numbers that identifies your device. It works by routing your network connection through a remote server, protecting you from those trying to find your location and other valuable data. A VPN is essential when you're using public Wi-Fi or working remotely, as it encrypts your traffic and protects your information while it's in transit. It's like a private line to directly access a corporate server or a secure network from anywhere. When you use a VPN, your internet service provider, government websites, and the websites you often visit won't have a way of knowing your true location. If you really care about your browsing privacy and data security, a VPN is your best bet. On the downside, as previously mentioned, a VPN can protect your computer from viruses. You can't set up security rules on VPNs. To monitor for and erase viruses, you'll need antivirus software. To block viruses from entering your network and to prevent data from being stolen, you'll need a firewall. So what are firewalls? A firewall watches incoming and outgoing traffic on your network. Firewalls block attacks automatically and also allow you to set security preferences for what you let into your network or computer. If you don't program a firewall to block a certain kind of site, content, or traffic, it won't, even if that site has content that could hurt your system. There are actually two types of firewalls: a hardware or network firewall. Hardware firewalls are physical devices that are placed between your computer and the internet. Their disadvantage is that they are separate devices that often require professional support for configuration and maintenance. Software firewalls. Software firewalls can control the internet access and behavior of programs on your computer. Most computer operating systems include a basic built-in software firewall feature, but firewall software is also available separately from computer stores and trusted online vendors. If you are tech savvy, use both. For virtually all home systems, the software firewall is more than adequate. So what should you use? A firewall or a VPN? The answer is both. Set up a firewall along with a VPN. A VPN, like Avast Secure Line VPN, will hide your online activity and allow you to transfer data securely without slowing down your connection, even on public Wi-Fi. But alone, it can't protect your devices from downloaded viruses or spyware. If you click a bad link on a malicious site, you may still be vulnerable. So a firewall will let you know before you visit potentially harmful sites. Even if you don't consider yourself to be tech savvy, Avast Advanced Firewall can be quickly customized to your settings with simple controls. A smart profile setting automatically detects the number of devices on your network and sets your profile to private or public mode to protect you from intruders. Installing an efficient and strong firewall around your network is essential. It's a great way to secure your system from invasion and data theft. Comprehensive protection should include a firewall, VPN, and an intuitive antivirus program like Avast Free Antivirus. The latest Avast Free Antivirus also includes a firewall. Avast Secure Line VPN is an excellent addition to round out your protection. I've used their free antivirus product since 2003. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bob. Great news. And Hewie, are you ready to roll?
I am. If I hit the right buttons here.
The Starlink report.
This is
The Starlink report.
for September 13th, 2021. I'm Hewie Poplock. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and of course, ask for notifications. Many communities across the country and the world still lack access to broadband connectivity. The goal with Starlink is to close that digital divide and provide access to this innovative, cost-effective, and spectrum-efficient technology of Starlink. To date, SpaceX has deployed 1,740 satellites in low Earth orbit, but the goal is to get all the way up to 12,000 for their constellation. All this since May 2019, when SpaceX launched its first batch of operational Starlink satellites. Back on January 24th, SpaceX launched 10 satellites into polar orbit, and another 3 Starlink payloads launched in a similar orbit in June. These satellites are in polar orbit and feature the laser links. This upgrade allows SpaceX to provide internet connectivity near the poles and in other regions without ground stations. Ground stations take a long time to communicate with satellites, which affects data transfers. Musk claims that with laser satellites, the speed will be 40% faster than what optical fibers offer right now. All this without any equipment on the ground. During the 36th Annual Space Symposium in August, we learned from SpaceX's President Gwen Shotwell that they've been busy rushing to complete manufacturing the first batches of their next-generation satellites, and those next-gen satellites are equipped with laser communication links. The next launch will be from Vandenberg Space Force Base. This will be the first Starlink mission launched from California. The mission is assigned the name Starlink 2-1. It will be deployed into different orbital parameters. This is the first of the next generation Starlink Gen 2 system satellites. The next launch will be 51 Starlink satellites atop the Falcon 9 rocket. It will be the 29th operational Starlink mission, boosting the total number of Starlink satellites to 1,791. This next launch is scheduled for Monday, September 13th. Hey, that's today! Scheduled liftoff is 8:55 p.m. Pacific Time and 11:55 Eastern Time. The surge of COVID-19 has been impacting rocket launches due to a shortage of liquid oxygen. In fact, this is something that Shotwell confirmed. She even said if anyone has any spare liquid oxygen, to send her an email. Elon Musk said via Twitter, data packets do not need to touch. Regular internet data can flow from user terminal to satellites to user terminal. The aviation and maritime sectors, both military and commercial, offer huge potential markets for Starlink that can only be tapped with laser linking. The crosslinks are the key to truly getting lower latency than fiber optic cable, especially over long distances. Ground stations will still be relevant, but having these next-gen satellites with laser links will enable communications from one satellite to another on the same or adjacent orbital plane. A ground station does not have to be in the same satellite footprint as user terminals. It's not just going to reduce the number of ground stations needed for global coverage. Laser crosslinks can also lower latency because they reduce the number of hops between the satellites and those ground stations. This isn't the only shortage that's affecting SpaceX. Not only are they dealing with less liquid oxygen to go around, but there's also a chip shortage, and that is causing some major problems, especially for those waiting on Starlink user terminals. Elon Musk has confirmed the possibility that this could delay launches, but right now he says it's a risk, but not yet a limiting factor. There is a delay in wait times for Starlink, but you can still place your pre-order on Starlink's website. Some users are now getting the message that their order won't be fulfilled until 2023 or later. SpaceX CFO Brett Johnson revealed some manufacturing numbers. Right now, SpaceX is only making about 5,000 Starlink dishes per week, but in October it hopes to meet consumer demand. The company currently has over 600,000 pre-orders for the service that is still in beta, and they're only producing the 5,000 a week. They do have quite the backlog with the chip shortage and their current capabilities to produce those dishes. They do expect that number to multiply in the coming months. According to Johnson, SpaceX will have a newer user terminal coming this fall. It's rumored to be smaller and to be square-shaped. It's also going to be cheaper, but it will still cost SpaceX money to produce. It's unclear if you, as the consumer, will experience a price drop just yet. This should mean that they will be able to turn out multiples of their current 5,000 dishes a week. The dishes are actually quite expensive to produce. They originally cost $3,000 per user terminal. Now it's about $1,300, but they're going to keep trying to drive these costs down. You are still paying $499 for your dish as the consumer, and it's unknown if and when that price will drop. The new dish is rumored to be smaller. It's also rumored to be square-shaped, and that could obviously kill the nickname Dishy McFlatface. The video that this came from was from Hyperchange, and do note and take a look at that video where they explain and produced the drawing of what they think is what the new dish will look like. That's it for
The Starlink Report.
For this September 13th, 2021. I'm Hewie Poplock. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Huey. That was great. That was really good. We are going to say goodbye to our YouTube friends as Ray tees up for his music segment. Thank you for coming. If you're over on YouTube, we have room for you over here on our Zoom meeting. If you want to come over and participate in the question and answer, you're most welcome. Now I'm going to stop the stream over to YouTube.